Hey, everybody. So, guess what? Jimmy's in the house today. I was a little concerned last week he didn't show up. He did tell us. Didn't you tell us that you
I
were
did
coming?
tell you.
We thought that maybe because of the week before that extreme, we had a posting in the Facebook about extreme ironing, and I was just joking with you to show up.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah, I
know,
saw that. I'm like,
yeah.
who the hell put that up?
No, that's real stuff. People are serious about that. You know,
Underwater ironing.
yeah, no
How
kidding.
domestic do you want someone to get? That's what I want to know.
Well, I just
Between
wondered.
you and Patrick.
Do they use an electrical iron, or I hope
Yeah,
it's a
they
battery?
5,000 foot extension cord. Yeah.
Yeah, but in the water, you know.
Well, I don't know how you do it.
I don't know, but
You
I
have to,
joked with you about meeting me down at the aquarium with your scuba equipment and your wing chair. I was just kidding about
yeah,
that.
yeah. And then they see, security. Hello, security.
Well, Jimmy never showed up at the aquarium, even though we have everything in place down there. I'm just kidding. But anyhow, thanks for joining us. We see already that we have a few people. Thanks a lot. And as usual, I think not as usual on the Facebook forum. I think I'm going to have Jimmy kind of chime in, and because he's a moderator of that, I may read out some of the Facebook postings that we've had. Randy says hi, by the way.
Hello, Randy.
And yeah, I'll have him do that segment after I get through the introduction. As usual, thanks everybody. If you're looking for the first time, if you found us through YouTube, we do this on a weekly YouTube live question and answer. We've been really good about keeping the time. Although there are many challenges to keeping a regular time, you'd be surprised. With the custom work and all the logistics that are concerned with this studio is separate from my workspace. It's a little ways away, so it's an effort, and I think it's worth it because I think that we're getting more people on the live question and answer, Jimmy. And of course, every time Jimmy shows up, of course, because he's the popular one, he gets a lot of people interested in, and then they join, right, Jimmy?
Yeah. I think that's nice, though. I mean, I still haven't got my first paycheck from.
I told you the platform shoes. That's your raise. Those are coming soon.
It's not cutting it anymore. I want more.
Those platform shoes. Some of them are 6 inches high, Jimmy.
Yeah, I definitely don't need the height.
No, okay. No, you
Okay.
don't. You're a tall guy. How tall are you?
6
7'2" or
feet.
something? 6 feet. Six
Yeah.
feet. You seem like you're 7'2" sometimes.
Well, yeah, that's because the chair's on the ground.
Well, anyhow, so as usual, so if you're following us or you're tuning in for the first time from YouTube, check out our other places like the forum, the Facebook forum. It's Broadway Upholstery School, and also the online classes and the store that you can get at Upholstery on Broadway at gmail.com. So check that out too. So we have a lot of resources for you guys, and in the hopes that you look at upholstery as a career or maybe even just as a hobby, which a lot of our people are hobbyists. I wanted to talk about one young man that started watching me. His name is Blair, and he went out and he purchased a trailer, and he got all of the the signage and everything.
Really?
And he's had T-shirts, and he does a lot more than I do.
Oh,
actually.
you should show us an example of what he's got.
Yeah, well, you guys could check him out on Facebook too. He's got his own Facebook.
Really?
Blair Gilly is his last name.
Oh,
and I'm really excited about him because he got his start with us, and it looks like he's doing quite well for himself. So he does repairs. He went to furniture stores to say, hey, listen, if you have a customer that's not happy, I'll go out and try to smooth it over. So he's got a relationship with at least 2, maybe 3 furniture stores.
That's great.
Wasn't that a good idea?
Yeah.
I wonder where you got that idea, Jimmy. What do you think?
I don't know. You want to brag for a second here?
Well, no, I think we gave him a lot of ideas in the beginning, but he's the worker. He's the one that's putting the hard work in.
Well, he's going to make the connection. Somebody's going to pick him up. Say, hey, I want you to work for me. I want you to do this type of work.
He has. I've seen some of his work, and I've seen some of the comments from people that have.
Well, he should start posting. I don't see
his postings on the our page.
No, I see Daphne. I see Daphne's.
Daphne is
Yeah.
Actually, is she here today? I think she might be. She said she was going to be. Willard says woo-hoo. And Randy says hello, Jimmy, like I said. So let's get right to the YouTube, Jimmy. Okay. I'll read some of the YouTube comments, and then Jimmy's going to do his segment. Hopefully When I have time, for those you who don't have the online classes, maybe find us through the YouTube videos. Maybe we'll have Jimmy do a little work on this piece behind us that came in. This is a beautiful piece of furniture. It's newer. It's not an old piece. It's a newer piece. And as far as a newer piece, the style, it's a very tufted back style and an upholstered seat. I like a lot of the chair, but I want to point out some things that manufacturers, just even high-end manufacturers, just can't really deliver on, and that's because they don't have custom upholsterers. They have upholsterers, but the custom part of it sometimes is let out, and I'll explain that in a minute. Most people wouldn't be able to see it, so don't worry about it. If you have furniture that you bought, high-end furniture, don't worry about what I see, but I'll point it out and how we're going to improve on it, Jimmy. And then maybe Jimmy can measure this or do something on it. We'll see. I'm not sure what yet. We actually fly really by the seat of our pants here a lot of times. If you haven't noticed, we don't have a script.
There are definitely no script here.
No. Pat will tell you, sometimes we go off a little bit, right? Off.
Off?
Yeah.
Oh, really? I hadn't noticed.
Daphne says about last week's show, she said, great show. Thanks for the shout out. And I will log in next week. And then on this one is how to upholster dining room chair part 1, stripping and measuring. This is from Ian. Thanks. I really enjoy these videos and appreciate you being so generous with your time. And I was just talking about it. I mean, I wake up I'm getting up now at 4:15 in the morning.
I'll call you.
Is that what time you wake up, Jimmy?
I'm up at 3:30 in the morning.
You're kidding.
No.
Oh, wow. You're crazy, man. 3:30. That's
3:30 in the morning.
What time do you go to bed? Midnight?
No, actually, I go to bed about 8:39.
Oh, you have to.
Yeah.
That's still not a lot of hours for,
I know.
And that's not a required hour to sleep, but that's early. In case you don't know, Jimmy works at one of the major transit authorities in New England. How's that, Jimmy?
Yeah, fine.
The
MBTA.
Okay. I didn't know if we could say it.
Oh, yeah.
Top secret.
Yeah, classified.
But they've had their problems. But, it must be difficult running a transit system in this weather, huh? With the cold and the ice and snow.
We've had some major issues with regard to some equipment where it leaks air, and then, it doesn't create a problem so much for the train, but it creates a problem that you can hear the air leaking out of the train.
When was the last time they had upholstered seats on trains?
They had them.
Do you remember any time?
They had kind of an upholstered seat. Oh God, I think it's about 20 plus years ago, and it really wasn't upholstered like you and I know.
It was like vinyl, like tight vinyl.
Yeah,
seats.
well, actually, I'd have to show you the example of it.
No padding.
No padding at all.
Why bother? So now they have the plastic seats, except for
now they're back.
The conductor has an upholstered seat, doesn't he?
Who?
The conductor.
Yes, the person driving the train has at least that.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, because you're driving.
So what you're saying is the MBTA doesn't love their customers. They love the guy driving.
Oh well, we don't send out edible arrangements to everybody, but we do. I mean, they want everything on time. They want the train from yesterday.
Yeah, it's really difficult. I mean, we were talking earlier about how it has to be subsidized. There's no way. If you were running a private in England, they do have private trains. They've got like 12 different train. Correct me if you guys know better than I do from London, how many different private lines they have coming out of London.
Really?
Yeah.
So I would own a bus service or a train service.
Yeah,
you would as well.
I don't know if they're subsidized, but boy, they're expensive. So the true cost of riding, let's say what the true cost, Jimmy, of riding, let's say from Boston to Newton, which is a suburb of it's 15 miles out from, let's say, downtown, right? Or 12 miles, right?
Right.
So how much, realistically, just a guess, an approximate, forget about that you're subsidized privately, what would be the price of that trip?
At least $15.
At least $15.
$10 to $15.
Yeah, I would say you're right on there. Yeah. Yeah, I was going to guess.
If
20.
you had a cab, it would be at least 20 to 25, I think.
So you have to base it on a cab fare, really.
Well, you don't want to do that because
people
don't want comparison of modes of transportation. They want to know what you're going to charge.
Right.
And to go from, let's say even Cambridge to Newton is a good. it takes time. You know, I mean, you take a train ride into Boston, take a train ride out, because of the connections.
Yeah.
Probably good 45 minutes, but it'd be only about $3.
That's all they charge is $3.
Yeah,
So
because
it's
you make
subsidized. It's subsidized at least $10 to $12.
right,
That
and
one.
so you're taking your. I had somebody complain one day about, oh yeah, it cost it took some time for him to get from Cambridge to Quincy area, which is the South Shore. But I said, you're $3. I mean, if you took a cab,
Yeah.
put that out there.
Yeah. And look at sometimes you get live entertainment on the train, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, here we go. Let's go to the next one. Bless you. Ian says, thanks for doing these. I can't watch live, but I enjoy them later. That's really important, Jimmy.
Well,
That people like watching a live show later. Let's see if there's any comments or who else is coming here. Denise, hi Denise. Or is that Dennis? Oh, sorry. Hi, y'all from down south. SG
South.
says, evening all. Clyde. Claire says, love these videos. I'm in the UK. Oh, yeah. Hi, Claire. And thanks for all joining. And let's go on to the next series of YouTube comments. Quick tips. Fixing upholstery damaged by a pet. Some of these that we did tongue in cheek, by the way, I should tell you guys. With Cece, I think she liked it. One time we did a video where I'm sitting there on a wheelchair with my legs crossed talking about cats and cat behavior and how it relates to upholstery fibers and fabrics.
Did somebody yell at you about that?
Somebody said, this guy doesn't know anything about cats. And then
I've had a couple of cats myself, and believe me, they were not nice to my furniture.
Well, then somebody else said, he's an upholsterer. He doesn't know anything. What's he supposed to know about cats?
Well, I mean, unless you've owned or you've had experiences with them.
No, I mean, I had lived with two cats once. One was a female cat that didn't like men. I never saw it. The other one was a male cat that was friendly.
Okay.
So all I know is they have various different personalities, and you can't predict anything that they do when it comes to furniture, at least.
I mean, you have dogs that chew on the legs. I mean, I know of a dog that would love those chew legs right now.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we love pets, though, don't we?
I mean, I wish I don't have a pet. I wish I could. It would be a nice thing to have.
Willie Furniture says, thanks for doing these every week. It's the Upholstery Show Live. I always look forward to them. Great, thank you. We used to look forward to, when I was in the 90s, the thing to look forward to was Thursday night.
Why?
And I'm not competing myself with NBC, that's for sure. But we used to look forward to, Willie just reminded me of, Seinfeld was on every Thursday night. So every Friday at the office or wherever, the warehouse, wherever I was working at the time, that's all people talked about all day. Hey, did you see Seinfeld? What about that segment? It was the discussion. You don't remember that, Jimmy?
I never got into Seinfeld.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why.
You were like into Bozo D Clown.
Yeah, Bozo D Clown. All right. the real shows.
Hey, those weren't bad shows. It's entertainment, right?
Well, that's what they tell me.
And then making a rollover arm caps. This is just arm caps. Thank you for this. I've been waiting to do this. Okay, that was from Gwendolyn. And let's go to the next series. Patrick sent me these. Let's see. YouTube comments quick. Another one. Oh, that's the same one. Sorry, guys. I think I'm done there. Jimmy, at this point in the show, wake up over there.
I am looking for things, and of course I switched over. And
I want Jimmy to because he's a moderator. First, I'd like to, if you could read some of the new people that we have, Jimmy, maybe the first 4 or 5 new people that
do we have there? Is it on the screen there?
No, I mean that joined up.
I don't have. That's what I'm looking up now, and I don't have anything.
Oh, you don't have any Facebook stuff?
No.
I put you on the spot.
You put me on the spot for no reason at all.
Oh, excuse me.
Are you okay?
I'm fine. So, Jimmy, you don't have Facebook on your phone?
No, I don't have it right now.
Oh, boy, I'm going to have to go. I think Jimmy got a case of the jitters there.
Oh, the jitters.
Just I know he's more capable than that. But Jimmy's a good moderator. You've been up to date on all that.
I've approved a good 6 people this week, I believe.
You're kidding.
No.
Wow, that's pretty
And
good.
some of them are even like 5, 6 in the morning. I'm like, wow. I said, okay.
Well,
good.
that's our time, but where are they? Where are they located?
I don't know. I'm like, geez, I like to think they're not up at 5, 6 in the morning for me, but
Hey, Daphne, obsessed with Seinfeld. Yeah, when Patrick's here, we're always doing these Seinfeld references, and they're pretty funny. They really still apply, at least people in our age group, Jimmy. Patrick,
yeah.
no, Patrick gets it, but some people don't. If they don't know the references, they just look at you.
Well, I
like
mean,
you
I
got-
know Seinfeld, but I never watched the show, so I mean, people would have to tell me about it.
So Daphne has a really, I was really excited when I saw this, Daphne. Thank you for sharing this. So let me just read it. And this is from the Broadway Upholstery School Forum. You guys out there who are doing the YouTube, you get the free YouTube and you get the free Broadway. You have to go to Broadway Upholstery School Forum and hopefully sign up, because there you're going to find such rich value of information there. We have some very capable people who are beginning, some of the journeymen, some own their own shops. So I suggest that you go there and look at that. So, for instance, here's something really smart that Daphne posted. I hope you guys can see this. It's a big article in the Wall Street Journal about a trend to reuse and reupholster furniture.
Mm.
I took it with a grain of salt, but hopefully it signals an increase in demand for reupholstery. I think you can read it once for free. Let's see, and then, well, let me just show you the picture first. That it's in the Wall Street Journal. That's probably the picture in the article. So let me just click here to see if what comes up for visuals, if any. Oh, look at this! Wow, this looks like something Patrick would have done.
What's that?
Look at that! Look at that sofa up there. Do you see that?
Oh, beautiful.
Isn't that nice? The Wall Street Journal, and underneath it says resale revelation. So that's the picture, resale revelation, right? And honestly, it looks like something Patrick would have done. Americans are finding resources for close to home antique and secondhand furniture, sometimes in their own attic. We'll give Valero Doval credit for that. How shipping delays turn. So the other subtitle here is how shipping delays turn used furniture into a hot commodity. Now, I've known this for over 40 years. I've been trying to get, funny. I think that finally people are really, more and more people are turning around. And you remember in the 90s, Jim, with there was a big push for recycling, at least in some of the wealthier
Yes. Well,
communities.
I think an awful lot of that, everything had its little bit of phase.
And there was a lot of talk, but
yes.
but very few people were doing it. Very few people were recycling. They weren't bothering separating cans from cardboard and all that stuff. I don't think the industry was ready for that anyhow at the time. But I think that what I'm seeing lately, I'd say I think the pandemic has really escalated this, Jimmy.
Well, I think, like you said a couple of weeks ago, with regard to, the upholstery, with the furniture itself not having the endurance of furniture did years ago.
Right.
So now all of a sudden people saying, what's going on here? This is not it. The fabric's wearing out. Maybe even the piece of furniture is wearing out.
That's one aspect of the increased interest in upholstery, but the other one is that the supply chain has really affected delivery of new furniture. People are going into new furniture stores and they're saying like 6 months. They're giving people 6
Yeah.
months. Nobody's going to wait for a piece of furniture for that
Well,
long.
not if you say, oh, yeah, I have 2 children at home, or, I
Mhm.
just got this piece at home that I just wanted to replace. Now I need it. I need a new chair, or I need a new ottoman or something, whatever it might be.
So Daphne says she's been recycling furniture for years.
I'm
And
just looking at something she did, the fabric,
yep.
the green and the blue. I love the green fabric. Where did she get that?
Well, so Randy just told me that some of them are out 1 year.
Wow.
1 year, and Randy's on there now. You guys, if you have any questions, if I get a little busy, Randy would be more than helpful. We did great last week with that. So let's go to another posting. This is from Daphne. I just completed my first wing chair. I really learned a lot, and if I might have Yeah, this is a new one, right?
The
Yeah.
green one.
Did we do that last week? Do you remember?
No, this
No.
is no. She did
This is
another
another
one.
one. I just completed my first wing chair. I really need a. I really learned a lot during this project. I documented every step, taking it apart. I also referred to some of Kevin's YouTube and online class videos. This is the first to see Daphne is able to use. She's using the YouTube and the online classes and the forum, all those three things. And she's a good patron of our store online at Upholstery on Broadway.
But
So
this
there's
is the
four
one.
things. That's the one. That's a poster. Yeah.
Yeah, that the green one is
She's been really prolific here. I can't believe the work that she's getting out. I really can't believe it. This is the first time I ever used ply grip, made welding, and sewed a cushion and fully upholstered the chair arms. Really. So I'll just show you all the pictures that she posted, you guys. Cool, huh? I'll tell you, there's great pride when you finish a piece of furniture, isn't there? I mean, it's a real craft, but it's also an art form. And Daphne says, "Sorry, I'm out of control." On Facebook, don't be
Don't
sorry.
you ever be out of control.
We like it. So Susan, she posted. We haven't heard from her in a while. Hi there, everybody. I'm real. Oh no, she was new. I was thinking of another Susan. I'm relatively new to this forum, but not to Kevin's YouTube videos. Okay, that's where I've seen the name. I have finally finished this chair, my first ever attempt at reupholstering and webbing and respringing. Wow. This chair was an extremely steep learning curve for me, and it actually took me 3 attempts. 3 is the charm. To do the top backrest as the first time, I ripped the fabric by a misplaced staple. Second time, the fabric was off-centered. This is how you get good, you guys, with your mistakes. Trust me, made plenty of them. But you really do learn by repetition. If you make a mistake, just look at it as better learning. Unless you don't have any more fabric, and you get a customer at the end of it, that's not good. But there's only a certain point, so many mistakes that you can make, right? But right the third time, right? Luckily, see, another thing I want to say is you have to be a self criticize yourself when you're working, Jimmy, on this,
Oh, you do.
especially if you're a hobbyist. And there's nobody there really checking you. You've got to be the person. You've got to be happy with the end result.
Well, you have to be your critic for it.
Yeah. And then luckily I had already watched the 1860s chair and the 8-way tie videos, which helped massively. I love that! Exclamation point. I'm really chuffed. Chuffed. Have you heard that word, Jimmy?
No.
Chuffed. Okay, with the outcome. I think that she's got to be English. I think that's an English word. From Great Britain. I think that means excited with the outcome, including my milk paint job. Now, you guys, I'm really building this up. I haven't done this yet, but wait till you see this. It's really cute. Um, Including my milk paint job to have an aged effect. Though I know it's not perfect, but I know that it's only down to my lack of happening upon the or luck of happening upon the broad upholstery videos, and obviously Kevin's excellent skills and expertise. Thank you, Kevin. Well, thank you. Look at this, you guys. This is that peacock fabric. I recognize this fabric. You see, it looks peacock. That's a peacock, I think. Right, Jimmy?
Oh yeah, that I like. That's classic.
Let's go to the.
Kind of almost a paisley.
Let's look at all the pictures she posted. She's got some close-ups. And Claire says, "Chuffed means pleased." Very happy. Claire, I think. Thank you. You're from England, right? Yeah, right. You already mentioned that. I think. Let's see. I'm pretty sure she is. Nice job, Randy says. Let's look at the. No, I want you guys to see this though on the bottom here. She did a really good job. Look at that. She's showing her work. She's showing every angle of her work, which is kind of daring, and I'll tell you why. So when you're looking at, I'm going to get a close up, and I'm not doing it to embarrass. So the reason I say that she's brave in posting that angle, that particular angle, is because when you're upholstering, you want to be at about a little bit above eye level with all the work that you do. because nobody's going to look at your work unless it's a very discriminating customer. I've had that happen to me. Turn a chair upside down to look at. I'll tell you that story in a minute after I get through this. But that's showing that she's proud of her work and that she's very satisfied with her work. I'm very impressed by that. That she's showing all these different angles, right, Jimmy?
Yeah.
And look at this close up that she's got here. Look what she was smart in using. She's used a French trim around to cover the tack or the staple work. And the reason that's smart is that you could come around pretty. The scroll gimp is a little bit easier than the French gimp. But can you? I don't know if you guys can see this. Let me get a little close. I know that this is probably not. It's not like Patrick's graphics. But the thing about that is the double piping for beginners is really difficult to work around there. I wouldn't do double piping if you're just starting. To get yourself, excited about the business and you really want to do a good job, go with the gimp. Go with that trimming. It's a little easy to work, and I've got videos about how to put both on. But you will see that double piping is not as flexible. So double piping for you later on, if you want to do it now, you can go to the videos. But it's easier with the look at. She's even got. Thank you for doing this, and I love this. She even got the back up close. Look, you guys.
Oh yeah.
Isn't that nice, Jimmy? You
That
see that,
is
Jimmy?
beautiful.
She's good. And then she's got the outside back. It's a recessed back, you guys. That's a sign of very fine furniture. The back, those aren't easy to do. The outside back has to be put on first before the inside back, Jimmy. See how it's recessed?
Yep.
So that's also another sign. It's a very fine piece of furniture. It's definitely French, right? The French did that. But that's a difficult because usually the frame maker doesn't give you much wood to work with. Taking it apart's difficult, and then putting it back is difficult. And I'm sure, and the other thing she's got going against her. So see how even she has that, you guys? You notice that? She's really spot on with centering that. That is really good. That is really good. The other thing is that old frames settle, right, Jimmy? So they're not centered as they used to be.
No.
And even in the beginning when they're made, they're done by hand. So they're not really what I would call squared up. And she's got a side angle. She's really terrific with these, isn't she, you guys? Susan really, really made an effort here, and I appreciate that. Beautiful chair. Randy says, jealous of you folks out east and in the UK. You see so many more antiques. I got mostly contemporary things, all staples, no tax. Actually, Randy, I did want to, at one point, I'd like to have Randy, not today because yeah, I know we're not prepared for that. But at one point, I'd like to add a segment, Jimmy, which talking to upholsterers from all over the world.
Oh, you mean like you're actually talking to them?
Yeah, like on live, like having a conference call with an upholsterer. Randy would be my first choice. Randy's out in Wisconsin, and so in the middle part of this country.
I love it. We should let's have a
Isn't that a
field
good
trip.
idea?
Yeah, let's take a field trip.
Jimmy wants to go on a field trip, so if anybody wants to sponsor Jimmy on his field trip, we're going to give him a beanie with one of those helicopter things on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually,
I'll play the lost child. You can pick me up at the bus station.
you know what? I heard something about. I was joking one time about being. If anybody out there wants to adopt a 63-year-old upholsterer,
Well, you're self-sufficient, aren't you? You know
No.
how to dress yourself. And
Yes,
maybe
yes.
make a sandwich.
I didn't know what you meant by self-sufficient, but I guess that's yes, I am.
Okay, we just want to be sure. Want
I had to think about.
you wanted to put all those qualifications right out there.
I had to think about it as I remember my wife puts the clothes out in the morning for me.
Oh, geez, I don't do that. I don't have anybody doing that.
Oh, I'm a lucky guy. What can I say? But
I'll have to talk to her and say, I think Kevin. What is so? You still have the animals?
don't get me off my train of thought.
Oh yeah,
So-
look who's talking about your train of thought. Oh my God,
I want to get you adopted so that you can
adopted.
realize these fantasies you have about traveling the country,
Wisconsin would be a great place to go.
going into every upholstery shop that you can find and making friends,
Yes,
right?
God knows I need them.
But anyhow, I think it would be a great, interesting segment to talk to. We'll start with upholsterers, and then maybe we can go into, students and things like that. And
Right.
I think it would just add another dimension to the show. So Randy says, wait, the logs come for Irish festival. Well, Randy's doing a good job just talking, and that's great.
Irish? Well, I think
Well, we do have people from Ireland. We have people calling right now. I don't know who that is, but that could be just a customer, right?
Just a customer. Yes, I like my whole house done. How much?
But anyhow, so where was I? On the Facebook. We need to. I almost wanted to answer that just to see who it was. Let's keep going. I think we're done with that one with Susan, and now we're on to Denise. And Denise, she's got. I'm not sure if we featured this, but I'm just going to read it anyhow. Got a good deal on these 4 chairs. Now the fun part, removing all the tacks. We did do this, but I'll just show it to you. Those tack removing. We have a video, I think, about how to put tacks in, and they're not as easy as it might look. And I don't advise you getting the gun that they have. They have a gun that shoots these tacks. The problem is they put it too sweet. Remember, I was just talking about how all your work should be a little bit above eye level. So if I was working on this piping here, this seat would be in a perfect position. If I'm working on the arm, I can stand up, obviously, but I'm always going down to look at it like this.
Well, I've done it. Okay, good.
Because that's how people are gonna. That's how people see the furniture. They're
Well,
not looking at it like this. Right?
No, you want to get that correct angle because, well, I've done a couple of jobs with the tacks.
So when you're doing the tacks,
I'm looking over it.
you're looking, yeah. So if you were to look at the tacks from the floor, I don't know if you ever did this after you were done, but if you looked at the tacks from the floor, they'd be crooked. They'd be off.
Yeah, and it scared me, and I'm like,
Yeah.
wait a minute, let me go back and look here.
So my story about very fussy customers, I bet Randy can tell us some stories about fussy customers. I had a customer once. I know I've told this story before, but I did a really awesome. It's like a chair like that. It was kind of a nice. Really came out great, I thought. So when I was bringing the chair in, the customer saw the bottom of the chair, the cambric on the bottom.
And they didn't have any.
No, it did. Oh no, that would be bad if it didn't have any shimmy. It had it, but the staples. When you put cambric on, because you're putting rows of staples in your fabric.
Right.
When you put cambric on, you guys, sometimes when you put another row, you try to neaten it up. You're hitting the other staples. So sometimes you just take your gun and just turn it a little bit of an angle on the staples, and then you're assured that you're not going to hit another staple.
Right.
So that's kind of an old trick that one of the old upholsterers showed me, and I remember him saying, "Don't worry, the customers never look at the bottom of the chair anyhow, right?"
There's always one in the crowd.
So she saw them. She said, put that chair down upside down in the middle of the living room, please." I said, "Okay." And so she had a flashlight, Jimmy.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and she was giving me a hard time, and she just highlighted. I mean, the staples weren't. They were in rows, but they were a little off, like I just said.
Right.
And she said, "This is unacceptable." And I explained to her why it's like that. And then I saw another piece of furniture in the room, and I'm not a wise guy. I didn't say this in a wise guy manner. I said, "Is that a new piece of furniture?" "Yes, I just got that from fill in the blank fancy furniture store."
Okay.
Whatever the fancy furniture store is. And I said, "Oh, so did you look at the cambric on the?" It's called cambric, by the way, this material.
Okay.
"Did you look at the cambric on the other chair?" And she said, "No, it's fill in the blank. It's blah blah blah, and they would never do what you did." I said, "I'll tell you what, if they did a better job than I did, you can have the chair for free." And I was working for somebody.
Oh my God.
So that would have been like a month's worth of pay, probably at that time. I would have come out of my pay.
We definitely, didn't have GoFundMe
I was
back then.
no go funds. Go get lost is what they had back then.
Yeah.
So I went over and I said, "Would you mind if I turn it up?" And she agreed. She agreed.
Wow.
So we turned it up, and not only did she have crooked staples, it looked like a whole sleeve at one point. One of the years, I'll never forget this. It looked like they had a whole sleeve of staples in one part of the cambric. Staples were sticking up. They were half in. They were half out. They were turning every
Someone
one
got
way.
a little excited.
Right? So she said, "How much do I owe you?"
Yeah. You should have said double or nothing on the chair.
No. And I didn't do it to be a wise guy. I was trying to, show her that maybe she didn't believe me that this was that I was being sloppy on that. It wasn't being sloppy.
No, I mean,
It was just one of those things, Jimmy. Anyhow, you see it. So let's catch up. Let's see how Randy is doing. You guys probably are seeing this live chat anyhow, right? Randy is talking. Let's see. Karen say if you use a marker to color the staples, yes,
oh,
that's a
okay.
good idea. That's a good trick, Karen. I've used that trick myself. If you use a marker to color the staples, it's more difficult for them to notice against the cambric. And you could color staples different colors too. She's saying use a black marker, which we've done. But sometimes, you guys, I'll give you a little tip on double piping. Some materials don't glue. They don't hot glue, and they don't really glue well with the illness. So sometimes you're forced to throw a staple through the double piping from the front of the chip, from the front,
Right.
and if you're doing that, you can color the staples any color. If you have a blue fabric, color the staples blue. It's just a little trick. You do need a good staple gun though, and make sure you got your 80 pounds behind it. You need to make sure that the staple goes in. But anyhow, so Randy has this well under control, the chat. So I think I might get going for all you guys out there who are wondering what the online classes are like. I think maybe we'll have Jimmy. You mind, Jimmy? I got some tools set up there.
Yeah.
Maybe Jimmy can be working on that. We'll just review it like we did a couple of times. So we'll pretend like this is the first class for these. So class number 1 would be Jimmy. What we do is we talk to Jimmy and just maybe do a preview of what we're going to be doing. So class 1, Jimmy, would be getting it prepped. We have a choice actually of prepping it to be upholstered or actually measuring the chair the very first class. And I think sometimes we go back and forth there.
Well, what's more accurate with the stuff with everything?
Some people
on it?
like to measure the chair with the existing fabric on it because it gives them a little bit of a it's a safety thing, If you take the fabric off, it's a little harder to measure.
Well, not if everything's off. I mean, if the padding is off.
So our method is that when you take, we get the outsides off, so that you can have access to measuring from the insides.
Right.
There. So that will be probably class 2 would be the fabric. Class 1 will be to strip it.
Yeah.
And so, but before we get going, I wanted just to point out to people at home and to Jimmy is that what I notice about, this is a good manufacturer, good high-end manufacturer.
Okay.
Is a lot of times their pleats aren't really tight or even. So when you come out to here and just look at each pleat, we're going to count the pleats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many pleats over there, Jimmy? No, the pleats start. The hard pleats start right there.
1, 2. Yeah, it's about the same.
5,
1,
4, 6, 5.
Right.
So that's good. And you know what? For a manufacturer, you notice that the pleats line up pretty good, don't they, Jimmy?
They do.
So they probably had their best person on this. So I can tell you though on the back, see they have a little stitched area here.
Okay.
So I can tell you that the back is done off the chair and it's put on by somebody. Even the buttons are put on off the chair. So then they just apply it. And that's
So
what we
let's
see
say
these.
this section here would be
All this is one piece. This is stitched here too. All this is one piece.
Really?
Actually, yeah. So that's all done, but it's all been done for them. And then they also have to do is staple it on. So and then the back goes on.
So they push this section basically gets placed.
Yeah.
And then probably in the back they do the strip.
Yes.
Okay.
The ply grip. Now I'm gonna do this chair. I'm not gonna put the seam here. A custom upholsterer will leave this open, even if I have to cut that in the back there to gain entry. There's a post there behind it, sits back. But I want to see the fabric go inside. I want to see the inside on fabric tuck in. I want to see the inside back. That's just a better look than what this is.
Okay.
And I'm going to have more. This is what I call loose tufting. I'm going to do it by hand. I'm not going to use a machine to do any of this. I'm going to eliminate this and make that just a hand pleat. but I'm going to make it tighter, as tight as I can, a tighter pleat. Well, what I mean by that is more of a pleat, and tuck these buttons. And you can tell, you feel those buttons, they're not even tucked in. They're not attached to the back, Jimmy. They're attached to the foam in there. It's not attached. It doesn't go all the way through. And they're not using slip knots like we show you. They're using those, what they call wing. They almost look like a wing nut.
Okay.
And the buttons. And they just put them in, and then they just spread them. They're aluminum.
Oh, okay, okay.
And that doesn't, the only problem with that is it doesn't get it tight, right?
Well, I mean, probably because it's so the way the angle is.
So, Jimmy, I think on class 1, what we're going to do is get you going on stripping it. So what do you think you should do first?
Probably take the front off.
You can if you want, but normally the last thing the upholster put on, let's see how straight their staples are, Jimmy. Oh, Jimmy, I'm not going to accept this because look at how crooked these staples are.
Well, you know
You
what?
could take this right back to the shop, Jimmy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think I'll do that right now. Let me back the car up.
So what we're going to do, so what we're going to do is usually, no matter who's doing the online class, we could just give simple instructions to the very beginning, even if you're just a very beginner. So what I would do with Jimmy, I'm just doing this. I don't have to do this, but let's just pretend that it's the first timer. So we're going to do a show tool use. The tack remove is also used for staples. We want to show people basic removal skills. You just want to line it up. We're going to get people used to, especially if they aren't used to using hand tools at all. Most people are looking right in here, this area. The reason you have a wood mallet is because you have a large surface area, Jimmy, right? And so the reason for that is that you're not looking here, you're looking down here, which is the important part. And you're just tapping. If you miss, if you're just doing light tapping, you're not going to hurt yourself.
Okay.
Okay, but the idea is to get that staple lifted, and you can, try to get some speed after a while. You'll develop some speed. We're going to save the label of manufacturer just in case the customer wants it. And then you got the side cutters over there, Jimmy?
Yes,
We give people tips.
My favorite, well, one of my favorites.
We don't use side cutters to cut staples, right? We use them to roll, right? Roll the staple out, right? We don't cut them. We roll. We put a little pressure on it to get the staple and then roll the staple out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we do one thing at a time. We do the cambric, and then there are 4 layers here, right? You got the cambric, you got the cardboard tacking tape,
yep.
You got the piping, and then you got the fabric for the outsides. It's a
little bit of work to get started.
So we're going to see Jimmy work, and so that's the first class. We hope to get this all down upholstery ready, right? So let's watch Jimmy work.
Yeah. Sure, it's always me working. I never seen you work.
Watch, there used to be a show called Wild Kingdom when I was growing up, Jimmy.
Oh, yeah? Yeah.
I'm just going to get off camera here, give people a break from me. Wild Kingdom used to have an old guy. I can't remember his name. I think his name was Marvin. The old guy with the mustache.
Yeah, very. He was like a.
And guess what his assistant's name was?
What?
I think his assistant's name was Jim.
Was it?
So Mutual of Omaha, Wild Kingdom. It was a show about animals that go out into the wild, and
he'd be all dressed up.
Yeah, he'd be dressed up. He looked like he'd just going to a dinner party. The old guy.
Yeah.
And he'd be narrating, and then he would say there'd be a wild alligator coming at them, and then they'd say cut, and the old guy goes and has a martini, and then they call in this guy Jim, and Jim wrestles the alligator, and he does all the dirty work. And then at the end of the show, they stand together. You know what I'm saying?
I watched it, but I don't remember too much of it.
Now, I do want to point out something that Jimmy's doing. You could tell Jimmy's done this. He's very skillful with that tack remover. He's not using the mallet with that. Now, that's only somebody that's really used to that tool. And because you can slip, he knows the dangers of what he's doing there. But you can always tell somebody that's really comfortable with the tools. See, he made short order of that side by doing that. So when you're working around wood, a lot of pieces have the fabric right to the wood. You don't want to do that because one slip of that tool, and you could take out a nice veneer or an edge of wood that you really don't want to do. So the other good thing about the mallet and the tack remover and that light tapping is that you have more control over what you're doing. But if you're used to the tools like he is, that's fine. and you could see him on the online classes. We've got to have at least 50 separate shows for you, right, Jimmy? If you include the settee, which is 23 classes.
Yeah, that was a lot longer than I think you and I have ever thought
That was
of.
the longest one, but there's so much in there, little tips.
Yeah, I think people seeing if they want to restore something of that style, definitely. It's quite the I think that's one of the most educational videos we've done,
Yeah.
and I think that it's really worth the money that we and the time. I mean, my God, we definitely got everything stripped down to nothing. It was only the frame and the.
Let's just see if we got some comments, see if anybody's looking for me. But I think Randy's doing
Looking
such
for
a good
you.
job.
Why would
No.
they be looking for you?
Jim, Randy says Jim follower, huh? SP? Oh, Marlon Perkins and Jim. Jim did all the dirty work.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Marlon Perkins. That's the name.
Remember him, Jimmy?
Yeah. One of the names that I'm going to remember tomorrow.
See, that's we were down when we're down the New England Aquarium. When we do go down there, I will be standing in front of the aquarium saying, and now Jim will be going into the shark-infested waters with his wing chair to upholsterers, right, Jim?
Yeah, to
As I
you must have way too much time on your hands there, Mr. Kennedy. I mean, really now. How much?
No, I wouldn't have you do something. I would do it first, Jimmy. I would never.
Yeah, you're so full of yourself.
I'd be in there. You kidding me? I'd be going in there.
You would?
Sure.
Why would you do that?
Well, just to show you that it's not as hard as you think it is.
Okay. Yeah, so would that be a battery-powered iron, or would that be, what would you want?
It would have to be battery-powered, Jimmy. I don't know if they actually iron things when they do this extreme ironing. Do you? I think it's just a show.
You know what? I couldn't tell you. You must pick up, how many channels you have at home? 300-400?
No.
Because obviously, I mean, most people have the Kardashians, and they
Basic cable.
yeah, basic cable. Maybe have a little bit extra, maybe Netflix and Hulu and all these other new ones coming out every day. But you must look extreme. You must go to extreme. There's extreme sports, and obviously you don't get into that. You get into extreme oddities.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you. I think it's going to be an Olympic event soon.
Yeah.
So we should get you started on the condition.
And what's the training? Do I get paid for training? No, obviously not. Probably not. As usual.
Well, you have to pick an activity. They have one with the trampoline. They get on a trampoline and they iron out a shirt. You think you could do that? I mean, it's starting low,
You got it. And where are we gonna go? Where are we gonna put this again? You really obviously. I gotta talk to your wife.
There's not much harm there, Jimmy. Come on.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So see
at
that
my age.
So Jimmy would be normally, if I wasn't distracting him about all this, wild stuff, he would be saying to me things like during the online classes, "What's this cardboard tacking tape doing here?" Right, Jimmy?
Well, I'd like to know. I mean, I think people want to know how to finish it.
Why do you think it's there? That cardboard tack tape.
Well, it's to keep, get some type of shape. I mean, you don't want anything. You want that.
It doesn't roll on you, right?
Yeah,
It
well,
tightens
the
up that
edging to
pipe.
be really firm against it. You don't want it floating back and forth.
Yep. We use that. You could tell a fine piece of furniture when they have that in there and they didn't leave that out,
Well, I think that's classy. I think they know something about upholstery and how they want it to look. And I think that is, it's a really important item to kind of say, yeah, geez, you don't want something falling apart and look like, oh God, they didn't do this. Oh God, they didn't do that.
So the other thing I wanted to mention, Patrick, usually we have, if you guys go on the online classes, you're going to see a much better camera angles and all, which are really not easy to do in this trade.
Well, I think when we did the settee, there was a little bit of work with it.
I mean, right now we got the computer camera. That's it. We have 3 different angles. Sometimes I would say 4 because sometimes Patrick takes the camera on his shoulder, which is an easy thing to do. I have a newfound respect for those guys in the news that go out and film. those cameras are heavy, and they have to keep still, Jimmy. You have to be strong to do that.
Yeah.
But Patrick, he did a lot on the settee class because the settee class it was a small piece, and he had to get those close-ups, right?
Yeah.
I think just for the close-ups, it's worth it. You know, when I was learning, the upholsterers, I loved my mentors, but some of them didn't want you to watch them, and they would get in the way. Like Jimmy's back is to you right now. That's what they would do, just to, you know, maybe it's just a joke. Jimmy, do you want to just rip that cambric?
Yeah, I'm gonna
If you're
rip it
careful
right
with the label, but I just want to show people what's underneath there. Let's see what's underneath there. And be careful of those clinches. Hold on, that's interesting. I'm surprised at this. So what they have are they? That's really weird.
Now, what is this?
Oh, that's just, you know what that is? That's a muffler. That's a muffler
Now, what was that used for?
to muffle the sound of this. So they've got a drop-in spring unit, and they've got metal is hitting metal, and anytime metal hits metal right up in here, I am impressed with this for a system, for a drop-in unit. It's actually a pretty elaborate system, not bad. Probably the best drop-in that I've seen. I'll tell you why. But there's one thing that they can't do. They have to have metal on metal somewhere, and in this case, it's the clips against the spring. But look what the material they have intersecting here. Is that a metal, Jim? Yeah, that is a metal. So it's metal and metal, and when you have metal on metal, there's a chance that you're going to have a squeak. That's what this is. So the first time somebody hears a squeak in their furniture, they think poor quality. So you got to be careful with that. But I'm really surprised that wasn't a coil spring. So that's interesting, you guys. Somebody commented on Facebook. It's always something interesting when they take something apart. Karen says, I've been watching the settee class. It's been thorough and helpful. There you go, Jimmy.
Thank you. If you want an autographed copy, it's how much?
Again, Jimmy's Go Fund is for those platform shoes that he's been waiting for 10 years for those shoes.
Actually, I'm waiting for that first cup of coffee from you, but that's okay. How many years have I known you? 8?
I offer you coffee all the time. You know, it's funny, you guys. Jimmy doesn't let me buy him a cup of coffee because he always comes in the coffee, so he's teasing me a little bit. But the last time he didn't, so I said, I'm going to get you a coffee today. We went down to the local shop. Tell him what happened, Jimmy. Yeah.
I don't remember what happened.
We got our coffee. Both of us got our coffee paid for by the local police.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's right. Yeah, your friend who was there.
So I still didn't buy you a cup of coffee.
That's right. So, I mean, you know, maybe someday you can squeeze for a breakfast, you know?
Do you remember the Mary Tyler Moore show? Ted Baxter never had any money. He always had $100 bill.
Yeah.
And do you have change, Murray, for a $100 bill?
Well, you know what? I was watching. They had. I was watching YouTube this afternoon, and of course Betty White was on it, and she was the, you know, kind of like the station slut in a way. But she was always, she loved it. She was after Ed Asner for a while. And,
sorry, I think Jimmy forgot that he was on a family show.
Yeah.
And there's nobody here to lead him now. That's okay, Jimmy.
You sure?
Yeah. Betty White had a long career. She was a good gal, and she lasted
loved
a
her.
long time in Hollywood, huh?
Oh yeah. I mean, she was one of the greats. I think she definitely had a great sense of humor, and I mean, that Snickers commercial put her back in, and then of course, my favorite is the when she was the Muffin Lady.
Oh, right.
Oh, that was hilarious. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. And she said it with everything with a straight face, and it was like people were laughing. Oh my God, here's this woman in her probably late 80s at the time, maybe.
You know, Ed Asner was still performing right around the corner from the shop in Arlington. We have a theater there. He was performing. He's since passed, I think, right?
Yes, he's passed.
But as recently as 3 years ago, he was down there performing right in Arlington.
I'll tell you, he was another guy I liked.
So it's Jimmy's working away now. When we do the online classes, I'll give Jimmy a task and I'll back off, and Patrick will be playing music. We won't be chatting like this. We do this in the question and answer. We like to have a little fun in the question and answer, and also add and give you some tips on upholstery, as we go along. And hopefully, for those of you who've seen the online classes, you know what I'm talking about. So if you've never seen the online classes and you want to, they're a little, different. We're trying to give you a taste of it, right, Jimmy?
Yes.
let's just see how Randy's doing on the comments that nobody needs me anymore. Earmuffs. Daphne says earmuffs. I don't understand that. Oh, it's Jimmy's voice. I see. Yeah, he's got kind of a. Just kidding. Denise says, "Is it foam behind the tufting, and will you reuse it?" Yeah, absolutely. It's. Let's see.
It's something there.
Yeah, it's foam, and we do reuse. When I give an estimate for a customer, it's based on reupholstery, unless it needs. This one here was the seat's going to need to be retied, so there was a little added labor charge on it. But we try. People usually, if they're reupholstering, they like the style. So if you change the foam, if they insist, let's say there's cat damage, or water damage or something like that, you have to be really careful not to change the look of it. And then most I'm going to do is like that seam that I was talking about in the back. But the reason I talk to people about this, this is what we're going to do on your piece. We're going to strip it. We're going to rebuild the seat, and we're going to reupholster the insides. This customer actually was interested in what we were doing. Most people don't. They just trust me. Take off all the old fabric and replenish what we need to replenish in the way of cotton, and then reupholster the insides and the outsides. And the seat is a total restoration. So sometimes you get a half project or half restoration, half reupholstery, which this one was. So that's a good question. Oh, it's a joke about Jimmy's bad language. That's right, Jimmy.
Oh yeah.
Bad boy. So in the online classes, we do take them really serious, much more serious than we do the question and answers, and I think it's just because people are paying for them. You don't really want. I don't think they're going to want to see the Jeff and Mutt and Jeff show, right?
Speak for yourself, there, Joe.
So I wanted to get back. Randy had a comment about that he doesn't get a lot of antiques in the Midwest, things like that. But I really do want to talk to him about the type of work that he does. I was noticing out in the Midwest that you have to probably be more versatile as an upholsterer. I was looking on one shop. I think it was in Grand Rapids, or no, I'm sorry, Rapid City, and they look like they did a lot. They did furniture upholstery. They did car upholstery, drapes. It looks like they were much more had a diverse shop where I think that you may have to do that out there. Because of the fact that I definitely do think there are more antiques in the East Coast for sure. Randy says the settee class is worth it just for the spring tying alone. Also like the way you did the edge roll. That's a good compliment for you, Jimmy.
Well, that was quite the education because you mentioned about having to level it off, and I said, how is he going to do this? This is already awkward for me to understand, and for you to for us to have to stitch the roll and do it the way we did is definitely our first time, and I'm sure people will be like, oh my God, wow. I mean, to me, it will always be one of the better lessons going.
Helen just had a good point, and Randy's going to answer. Oh, Randy does cornices as well, and pillows. So, yeah. Helen, you're very insightful because that's absolutely true. Can you see how flat this looks, Jimmy? Jimmy, hold on one second, Jimmy. I want to answer Helen's question.
Okay.
These springs are lower than a number one spring. They're actually. They are 5-rung springs, which should be a number one, but they're so small. They're only about this much. She saw that in the video. I don't know how she saw that. But so look at this though, Jimmy. The customer's complaining about the seat.
Okay.
So I think just to say they had an 8-way, they had a coil spring, not even an 8-way tie. I was about to say an 8-way tie, but that's not. Look, no. That's not even, no human hand has touched those springs.
Oh, no.
Except to bang one nail in here and there. But the seat didn't hold up. Why didn't it hold up? Because of those springs. I think for the selling point of the chair, to be honest, they have coil springs in there.
Mm-hmm.
But what are they doing? They're this big at the bottom of the seat.
Well, do you think they compressed them and made them stronger? Or
No,
do
no.
No.
That's, look at the thickness of the seat and look at those springs.
Right.
So Helen, very good visual observation. And so what am I going to do to improve it? I mean, I can't call the customer and say, I'm going to put you probably should have a number 2 spring in there, or number 3 spring to get it.
Well,
proper.
how much would a unit like this cost to replace?
That exact unit?
Yeah.
That's not a lot of money.
Okay.
That's
what do you
like
think
$25.
Really?
For the actual unit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not a lot
Now,
of money.
Do they have units where they say, because you're talking about cushion and a good seat, you want a firm seat when you sit. Could you add, I mean, would there be a set to say, okay, we're gonna add another one?
No, the best spring system
Mm-hmm.
is the jute webbing,
Okay,
is a number 2 spring on
Right.
this one,
okay,
secured with either clench it or hand tie
right,
on the bottom.
You
And on
gotta
the
do that
top,
next
the
time.
8-way tie like you did on your settee,
right,
burlap,
okay,
a rubberized horsehair probably over that, or a real horsehair, a layer of it.
okay,
And then either 1-inch foam or cotton over that, or double layer of cotton. Or,
Okay.
there could be a combination here to get it to crown. And yeah, you do want it to crown. Any seat. I mean, it's interesting that looks flat. It's not supposed to be flat.
mm-hmm.
In my opinion, it should be crowned.
Okay,
But what's happened is I think it started its life as a crown seat, but it's flattened out. Bless you.
thank you.
To exactly the unit. It's funny how this happens, like the Princess and the Pea theory, right?
Right,
Look how flat on the bottom. That has transpired or transferred all the way to the top to be a flat seat. And that's what they're complaining about. It's not as comfortable now as when we
so
bought
basically
it.
they're saying it looks old. I mean,
Yeah.
for appearance's sake, they're saying it looks old.
So
because
I'm forced
now it
to
doesn't have this.
actually use a better foam. We're going to use probably a 3-inch, nice high density polyurethane foam.
Okay,
And the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to take once this is gutted, I'm going to take the foam and kind of tuck it in here, and then on the front I'm going to bring it not over the edge, but bring it in front of the edge roll.
well,
So
you're
I'm
gonna
gonna
keep
try
the
to-
shape to this?
No, I don't like the shape of that. Let's
Okay.
try to show people. Look at this. you
It
guys.
does wave a little
Well,
bit.
look
here.
at it. There's too much padding on the outside. I don't know if people can see this. You don't want a lot of padding coming over the edge. Like on Jimmy's settee class, you guys should see this. We really, really emphasize this on your settee. Do you remember?
Well, that's right, because we brought it right to the very edge, and then I
Yeah, but
stapled it.
you had
actually-
you had a serpentine front on that
Yes.
beautiful settee,
Yes,
and you wanted to keep that line. Those lines are hard to do in wood. I mean, really like this.
yes,
So if you were to take foam and just,
Drape
bring
it.
it over the edge, you lose all that nice detail. It's the same
Right.
thing. This has a little detail too. You see this? Let's turn this up this way. Look at this.
yeah, it's just a
Now
small,
look, push that in, Jimmy, with your hand. No. See how it comes out?
Yeah.
Right here, push it in.
oh,
See?
yeah,
It really does have a serpentine front, but you wouldn't even, it's hard to see it with all the padding, right? So that's what you get with the online classes. A lot of focus is put on that type of detail, transition lines and things like that.
yeah, well, that's what you wanna kind of bring the real.
Well, why don't you continue on the bottom,
Oh,
Jimmy?
sure. Now, let me do all the work and turn it back.
Now we will send Jimmy into the shark-infested waters with his scuba equipment and wing chair and can of Scotch Guard. And we'll watch. You guys who don't know this Wild Kingdom will have no idea what I'm talking about now, but that's okay.
No, you gotta get off the drugs, Kevin. I told you before, get off the drugs.
Randy says they have the springs compressed too far. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they do. That's another thing that you wonder if you changed it, would it matter that too?
Karen says my employer is an interior design shop in DC metro area. She's
Oh.
down DC, Jimmy. And we do the drapery, soft and hard furnishings and such, as well as the upholstery. We get some antiques, but a lot of later furniture for sure. Yeah.
DC. Never been down there. I'd love to go.
Jimmy, do you have any questions? Let's pretend like you're an apprentice. Do you have any questions as to what your steps would be? Why don't we, before we close out, let's go over all the steps now. Instead of having you stripping the furniture, let's talk about that. Let's try to break down the classes.
I'm a machine here. You made me a machine. My God, man.
You're doing a good job, Jimmy.
Yeah, I try.
So Jimmy's gonna, the class would go something like this. He'd loosen up the bottom. Let's just bring it up this way.
Okay.
This is class, we're hoping that class 1 is stripping. But sometimes really stripping a piece of furniture, especially for people just beginning, is really important. You need to know how to strip
It's
a piece of
intimidating.
furniture. So we might have 2 classes. So let's just say the first 2 classes will be stripping furniture. I'm not
Right.
sure where it would end up. So he has to take, because there's a lot of work on this with the welding, right?
Yeah.
And then Jimmy's gonna take these panels off, and they lift off. Now, before you take any panel, Jimmy, off, right, what do? You mark them, right?
Yeah, left and right, or
I like to mark top. Top tells the story, really. You can't go wrong. You can do right and left too if you want. But let's just see how they're attached. And I usually will show people one, and then they could do the other one. I want you to try to be careful. Try to lift it. There should be a nail, as there is a nail on the back side. Try to lift it so that you don't bend the nail or break it through. I know it's hard sometimes to do that.
it's a matter of trying to get the right angle
In other words, we try to reuse this. And you know what? This isn't the best tool for this.
Well, now what are these made of sometimes? What's the
Cardboard and these little prongs. This isn't really what I would call well made. This panel, because these are the prongs they use. You know, the strip that I don't like with the prongs, and I don't like that. They cut them off and they use these on the back.
Okay.
You know what I'm going to give you, Jimmy? A better tool for that? Definitely no, a chisel.
Ah, okay.
A chisel gives you more area to lift with, and it's a better leverage. I think. Let's see how Jimmy does. So while he's doing that, I'll talk about the first 2 classes will be stripping the furniture to get an upholstery ready on the insides and restoration ready on the seat. What that means is that everything's going to be taken out. 3rd class, we're going to be building the seat. 4th class, at that point, measuring for fabric. 5th class, cutting the fabric. 6th class, upholstering the seat. Right, Jimmy?
Yep.
7th class, upholstering the inside arms, because we're going to change the seam. 7 and 8 would be the tufted back. Maybe it goes into 9, but we're not sure.
I would say 9 because
Let's go 9 classes.
Yes.
So each class lasts about an hour and 15, an hour to an hour and 15, sometimes an hour and a half. And then the outside arms, that's class 9,
Right.
10. And then the outside back, class 11. So this is at least 11 or 12 classes of slow. You know, you get a slow and detailed instruction and work, right?
Right. It's all a little bit slow because everything is step by step, and whether it's the arms or whether it's the back and how that's constructed, because this is all changed around, and you want to be able to at least see again what you're going to start with and what changes maybe you're going to be making, or what you're going to desire to be changed. You may want to get rid of this and say, I want webbing, and we're going to get springs and do all of that, and just basically try to bring it back to life a little bit.
So, Jimmy, I think we'll have you close us out, and I'd like you to talk about. Well, let's just read Karen's comment. How should nails be secured to the panel without risking having the head of the nail punched through the fabric when it's attached? Well, Karen, a lot of times you're forced to run a brad through a panel, but the key is these little brads. A brad is just that really small-headed silver brad. It's called a brad. You can get them in a hardware store. They come an inch, half of an inch and a half, whatever. I think you want to get the inch ones. You run it through the fabric itself, a scrap to see. It's always a little oil residue on those. And then you have to be careful putting it through. And the best sound that you can hear is a little pop sound. That means that the head goes through the fibers, and That's not it. That's not what she's talking. She's talking about a brad through the
Okay.
front side, which we're gonna have to do on this. Some fabrics don't like this. You can't do it on a vinyl. I got a funny story to tell you. The upholsterers are really smart, and they're good problem solvers. So we had a guy come in the shop once, Jimmy. It was a commercial job. This was years ago, and I was working with a very smart upholsterer and a good problem solver, really good problem solver. It was a Chinese restaurant. I'll never forget it. They had like 500 seats. It was a huge Chinese restaurant
Oh,
in
wow.
Chinatown, and they were all vinyl. And the backs were upholstered. They were put on with the brad,
Oh,
and
wow.
they had fabric on them before, so you didn't notice the brad going through, but on the vinyl. And I said to this guy, I said, I don't know how we're gonna. He's coming in here. If you could do this, you've got the job, because these other upholsterers couldn't do it.
Right.
He had brought it to other upholsterers. You see the hole. You see holes in the back. And I said, Timmy, I don't know. You got any ideas? He says, Yep, I know how to do it. And I said, really? He says, yeah, but he says, I guarantee you're going to tell him, the owner of the restaurant, and he's going to take it and walk out, and you'll never see him again. I said, but what do I do? I mean, it's a good job if we get it.
Right.
Do we reveal our secret? And I guess, I'm all about revealing the secrets of upholstery, I guess.
No, you gotta
I tell
hey,
everything.
no, I wouldn't tell him.
Well, what happened
the only
was,
thing I'd say is we can do the job.
well, he wanted to know. He's very inquisitive, and he said, well, you got to show me, because I want to know, and you'll have the job. He promised that I would have the job.
And did you get the job?
Well, listen to how we fixed it, though, first.
Okay.
Okay, you want to talk about clever, you guys. Thinking out of the box. Let's see, Kevin. Thanks, Kevin and Randy. I found different arrangements on detachable panels before, and some work better than others. Thanks, Randy, for answering some questions there. So you have a vinyl back,
Yes.
right? You have to put brads. There's no other way. You have to put brads through it because it's curved. You have to put the brads through, no other way. Okay? But all the other upholsterers, you probably had 3 upholsterers, I bet, do this. Another one could put them on without putting the holes in it. I mean, and you could, all these holes, right? So you got your gun, you got your brad gun, and you're not putting these in by hand, you guys. There are brad guns that you can buy. This is my regular staple gun. I don't have one of the brad guns here with me, but a brad gun shoots the brads out. Okay, so he did one. He showed me. I couldn't believe it. You couldn't see any of the holes.
Really?
Yeah. Do you know what he did?
No.
Well, listen to this, you guys. Right? This is like the duct tape on Apollo 13. Remember that? They used duct tape to come back. Some of the simple things, right? He took the gun, he turned it up like this, right? And let's say this is the back, right? He took the gun at an angle. He went like this, at the angle like this, and he shot at that angle. And there was he had like a little
head
on the vinyl, like a door that was created.
Okay.
He created by angling it like that.
Okay.
Instead of shooting it, when you shoot it straight, you blow out the naugahyde.
Right.
That's gone. That's a hole. But what he did, when he turned the gun up like this, he created a little door. So he just simply took his finger and pushed the door in.
Wow.
Couldn't see it. So
You got the
I
job.
showed it to, no.
You didn't.
He took the job, went to his cheap upholsterer and told him how to do it, and that was the end of that.
Oh, I would see. That's where
Oh,
I say.
that happens in business. That's all's fair in love and war.
I would
you
say
guys.
I can't. Well, I would have said I don't reveal a secret. We can do the job if you want. End of story.
I did reveal the secret.
I would not have.
Oh, my brother-in-law. The guy was a little mad at me, but I didn't know what else to do. The guy was threatening not to do it if I didn't show him.
Well, you know what? Either way, knowing you would have lost the job and telling the secret, I would have taken. I'd taken the loss and said
You would have revealed the secret.
No, I would not.
Jimmy, that's what these online classes are all about.
Yeah, but this
revealing
is
the secret.
Well, yeah, but a different approach and a different business approach to this.
Yeah.
I mean, if a guy had said, "Oh, tell me the secret and you can get the job," I would have said, "We don't reveal the secret. Do we have the job or not? We can do it, but
maybe I should have taken a deposit."
Yeah, I definitely think at least you said a Chinese restaurant.
Yeah.
I would have definitely been ordering a couple of things. And let me order a few things and then we'll talk.
But anyhow, I hope that I gave Randy's talking about some things that that I have used the fir tree clips, fitted the panels and pre-drilled holes for the clips, installed those on cardboard, then upholster over the cardboard.
Now,
That's
these
interesting.
clips, Kevin, are these all separate? Is this what these things are?
They weren't, they were on a long strip and they were cut.
They were
And
cut.
they were put, yeah, they were cut.
Okay.
That's not a great way of doing it. We'll just use brads on ours. Hopefully
Okay.
the fabric will take it. We know the trick
I
now.
mean, it seems very, very strong clip,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, I think that's going to do it, you guys. And thanks for tuning in. Today, I felt a little choppy. Nothing to do with Jimmy. I'm a little tired. I was up early. I was trying to get a job out at the other shop. So we have 2 locations and I'm back and forth. So I hope, though, that the idea of these classes is through a little bit of fun, that we reveal little secrets of upholstery and some techniques, and you guys get maybe a little entertainment at the same time. So hopefully that all works. And so we'll see you next time. Thanks a lot.